So that gives you a sense of what we're doing in the enterprise. All this stuff built right into iPhone 2.0 software. So next up is the SDK. And to take us through where we are with the SDK and to show us some really exciting stuff, I'd like to bring up Scott Forrestal. Scott, all yours.
All right. With the SDK in iPhone 2.0, we are opening up the same native APIs and tools that we use internally to build all of the applications that ship as part of the iPhone. That means that you, as a developer, can build applications for the iPhone the same way we do. Let's start by talking about the APIs. The APIs and the frameworks on the iPhone share extensively with those in Mac OS X. Starting with the CoreOS architectural layer, we actually use the exact same OS X kernel on the iPhone that forms the basis of Mac OS X. In fact, if you look at the APIs and the frameworks at this layer, almost all of them share line for line the same source code that we use for Mac OS X. We also have a comprehensive core services layer. It has everything from a complete database API with SQLite. And it has a really popular feature, which is core location. This allows you to easily build location-based services into your application. We've got a rich media layer. We have everything from three-dimensional positional audio with OpenAL all the way up to a hardware-accelerated, screaming fast implementation of OpenGL ES for real-time 3D graphics. And we top it all off with Cocoa Touch. Cocoa Touch is our user interface, object-oriented framework. And this makes building an application for our full-screen touch interface an absolute breeze. So we have a great set of APIs. On top of this, we have a really powerful set of tools. We start with Xcode. Xcode is the tool you'll use to write your code, to edit it, and to debug it. We also have Interface Builder. Interface Builder allows you to easily construct your user interface and then to connect it directly to your code. We have an iPhone simulator. This allows you to run and debug your applications right on your Mac. And we go beyond that and make it trivial for you to debug your applications right on your iPhone as well, plugged into your Mac, running in Xcode. And our last tool is Instruments. This is a full suite of performance tools. It allows you to measure and optimize your application to get the absolute best performance out of it. Now, I'd like to demo these tools for you now. I don't have enough time to demo all of them, so what I really want to do is concentrate on how you construct your user interface in Interface Builder. We'll start here by launching Xcode. And I'm going to create a new project. This will just be a basic Cocoa Touch application, which I'm going to call Nearby Friends. All right, so Xcode has just created this new project. My application is going to use the built-in address book APIs so it can access the contacts database on the phone. It's also going to use the built-in core location APIs so I can add a location-based service. In my case, I'm going to filter between showing all of the contacts and just those contacts within 10 miles of my current location. Now, since what I really want to show you is how to construct the user interface, I'm going to drag in the controller glue that's already written. This is around 300 lines of code that talks to those address book APIs and the core location APIs. All right, let's go ahead and build the user interface. This is Interface Builder. In the center, you'll see a window which is the canvas on which we'll build our user interface. On the left-hand side, this is a library of all those Cocoa Touch controls. Let me go ahead and drag out a search field. Now you can see the search bar automatically changes size to fit exactly perfectly for the iPhone. I'll drag out a toolbar for the bottom. Snaps right into place. This comes pre-populated with one item. I don't want to use that item. I actually want to use a segmented control. And this is the control I'll use to switch between seeing all of my contacts and just my nearby ones. Now this is interesting. It has a couple different looks depending if it's in the content region or the toolbar. Interface Builder knows this and automatically gives it the right appearance. I'll say this was for all my contacts. This is for my nearby contacts. Now I want to center that in the toolbar. This is incredibly easy in Interface Builder. It has great layout controls. So now I've centered it. In fact, I've centered it in such a way that even if the toolbar changes size, it'll stay centered in the middle of the toolbar. Now you might ask, when would a toolbar change size on an iPhone? And the answer is, well, if you rotate from portrait to landscape, it changes size, and you notice we automatically keep that centered, and you can test all of that right from within Interface Builder. Now there's one more control I need, and that's to show all of my contacts. So I'll drag out a standard table view control, position it right in here, and we're good. So now I can actually simulate this interface. It loads it up in the iPhone simulator. You can see here's the table view, all the standard behaviors. I can click between the buttons. And if I click in the search field, it automatically brings up the keyboard. The next step is to wire this up with my code. So I'll quit the simulator, go back to Interface Builder. The great thing about Interface Builder is it knows all about the code you're writing in Xcode. So I can actually tell if this is that Nearby Friends controller I dragged in earlier, and now I can tell if that right there is your search bar. This here, that's your table view where you should show the contacts. And if someone taps on this control, go ahead and toggle your Nearby Friends. That's it, we're done. We've built the interface, we've wired it up to our code, and now with one click in Xcode, it runs the full application. These are now my real contacts. If I click in here, it brings up the keyboard, and if I type something, say, Bill, it filters right down to Bill Campbell. That's how easy it is to write an application and test it in the simulator right here on your Mac. Now let me take it one step further, which is I have an iPhone plugged into the computer here, and I want to test it on my iPhone. That involves only changing one pop-up. I'll change that to say build for the iPhone. One click, build and go. It's now compiling that same application, packaging it up. It signs it correctly from my development environment, from my development device, brings it up on here. It's launching it, connecting the debugger. So now I can use my finger, go ahead and swipe through. I could tap in the search field. Let's say I'll type Bill again, filters down. I can clear that out. And I'm just going to tap on nearby, and using location-based services, it found my current location and filtered it to only contacts within 10 miles of my present location. And of course, using the accelerometer, I can turn this to landscape. It rotates the application, and you notice that control at the bottom stays centered. So this is how easy it is to build applications for the iPhone. Productivity deteriorates. I know that all of my QA folks love the game. Next up is eBay. eBay is the largest online marketplace in the world.